Welcome to another edition of the CDG BizCast. I'm your host, Christian Gonzalez, co-owner of Creativity Design Group, a digital marketing firm in Houston, Texas. Today we will be discussing the importance of showing empathy when attempting to make sales and why your customers view salespeople in general as rude. My guests today are Concerned Consumers, Lauren Hicks in the United Kingdom, and Justin Rail here in the United States. In today's episode, we are going to be discussing how pushy salespeople are often perceived as rude by the general public and what you can do to make yourselves look more professional when trying to close a sale. I want to open the show by asking you guys, have you ever experienced an incredibly rude, pushy salesperson who would not take no for an answer or just would not hear anything you had to say? And if so, tell me how you handled them and how you felt they could have conducted themselves more professionally.
Wow, I have one. I don't know how many people in the UK do the big issue, but it's a big thing in Cornwall in the UK. There's the big issue a lot in most of the towns, and usually homeless people do it, or foreign people who come down then looking for jobs. They're the type of people that sell the big issue. They stand in the street. It's like a magazine type thing. They stand in the street trying to get you to buy the big issue. And there's this guy, he's been doing it for several years on the corner at the bottom of the street I live on. And he knows I'm never going to buy a big issue off him. I haven't, I never have, and I never will. And he keeps charging up to me to sell me the big issue all the time. He's like, do you want a big issue? And I'm just like, no, not today. And sometimes I have to hold back because my mouth has no filter and it runs away with me. But there's been so many times I've said to him to piss off or whatever, or to take the hint that I don't want it. But still, despite that, every time I go out and he's there, he still tries to get me to buy the big issue. But in the end, what I do is I just walk off. Mm-hmm. I just don't, I give him eye contact now and I just walk. And I carry on walking, and he's there talking to me as I'm going past, but I just carry on.
Whenever he tries to sell you that big issue, what is his usual tactics that he tries to use? Is he friendly? Is he just outright rude about it? How does he talk to you?
Very pushy. He does it to everyone. It's my neighbour Linda said that he's been like it with her as well for years, and he just comes across very pushy. He seems like he's nice, but the way he talks is very pushy. Mm-hmm. He's basically shoving himself in your face.
Right.
And it's hard. You've got to walk right past him, like a metre apart from him. It's really hard sometimes, but I have to nowadays, I just don't give him eye contact and keep walking.
Good.
Even though he's there trying to push it in my face.
That's good.
He does it to everyone. It's not just me.
He's definitely your stereotypical rude, pushy salesperson, and we're going to talk more detail about that as the show progresses. Justin, have you experienced a rude, pushy salesperson who wouldn't take no for an answer, and how did you handle them if you did?
Well, my issue was with a prepaid mobile service provider, and while I don't want to promote any one particular company, I got so angry at what they refused to do as far as unlocking my phone so I could take it to another carrier, but I ended up trading it in to another carrier and kicking that carrier to the curb permanently. I will never go back to them. I'm much happier with my new mobile service provider as opposed to the old carrier, because the new carrier actually makes sure that any problems I'm having with them are actually solved at the carrier level. They're not telling me, not my problem, you have to solve it. I ended up getting the FCC, the people who regulate the telephone companies in America, involved in my case against this prepaid carrier that I had a problem with.
I don't know if you've heard of Vodafone, their phone company, but I have someone else that's had that problem recently. You've probably seen my post on Instagram putting a review about them. The shops, they don't help you out. If you've got a phone on contract and it stops working, they do nothing to help you out. And that is worrying, because if you've got a phone on contract and they want to keep their customers, they should be helping. And they were telling this person to go an hour and 45 minutes away on the bus to go to a different location to get it sorted, when they could have sorted the issue there and then.
So it sounds like it's more of a problem with bad customer service rather than them being pushy and trying to sell a product that you didn't want. They're just...
Yeah, I was just going, along with what Justin said, there was someone that had that issue, and now, you know, I think this person is considering going to a different thing. But this company, Vodafone, are very pushy as well. That's the thing. If you ring up to get a phone and you know what you want, they will try and push you into getting a deal that you don't want, etc. So they can be very forceful, and most of the customer service are Indian people. I think their offices are located in India or whatever, or abroad somewhere. I think one is in Africa. I know that from experience, but they are very pushy on the phone.
Many of these telecom companies and similar companies will try to do this. In fact, the problem that you're describing is not only common when it comes to contacting them for customer service, where you give them your issue, and then after they fix the issue, they try to upsell you on something else. It's also very common when you look online. Maybe you see an ad online for a certain product or service. When you call it, you just get someone who's just trying to hard sell you something, doesn't listen to anything you're saying, and they're just trying to land a commission. In their mind, they're thinking about what's in it for them more than what's in it for you. And I have my own experience to share as well. In fact, I've shared it several episodes ago, but I'd like to share it again because it's relevant to today's topic. Now, we're all familiar with the car warranty scam, the one where they call you and tell you that your car insurance is about to lapse. They send out these postcards to anybody who's purchased a car. You purchased a car, then you get it registered with the state. Somehow these scammers get a hold of the list of newly registered cars. And I received a postcard in the mail right after I bought a car a few years ago. And I thought it was legitimate at first. It was related to the vehicle's warranty, and I thought it came straight from the car's manufacturer. I called the number only to get the pushiest salesperson I've ever dealt with. And I was starting to recognize that this was not from my car's manufacturer. It was from a scammer trying to sell rogue car insurance. They kept running their mouth. I could tell they were following a script. I was trying to tell them I was not interested, or I can't do it now. I was just trying to give him all these signs that I was not interested in. He just kept talking over me. He wouldn't hear me out. He wouldn't take no for an answer. And it just got to the point to where I hung up on him while he was mid-sentence. And after thinking it over, I just realized this is how the car warranty scams start. You either get a phone call or you get a postcard, regardless of whether it's a scam or not. The fact that the sales agent doesn't even take a moment to hear what their potential customer is saying is rude, and when they talk over them, that's even more rude. It shows that they do not care about their customers' concerns, and they're just in it to make the money and collect commission. Now, this was a scam, so this makes this sales tactic much more sinister. This was a car warranty scam, and it was an American scam, too, because the guy who answered the phone was American. He was not Indian, and he was not from another country. He had an American accent, and he was just trying to scam me out of all my hard-earned money to buy rogue car insurance. That most likely was just, nonsense. And
I had that issue last week. A British person tried to scam me pretending to be my bank, and usually you expect it to be a foreign person trying to scam you, but no, we've got our own people trying to scam us now.
Was this scammer using hard sales tactics and being really pushy to try to get you to give in?
No, because I knew it was a scam straight away. And I said to him, because I wanted to record it, so it only came up as a short recording. I did put it on YouTube, the end bit of it. But I was trying to get my iPad out quick so I could record it. And I said to him, please repeat my account number again. And he gave me the wrong end digit of my account number. And I knew it was a scam anyway, because Barclays never ring you. And I said to him, I know you're a scam. And I was ready to call him a scamming piece of poop, in the other word, etc. But he hung up, which was funny. I've never had a chance to try and push me like that person I said about to you earlier, where I had an energy scammer, I called her out. I told her I know she's a scam, but she was so desperate. She was trying to convince me that she's not a scam and that she'll call me all the time, etc., etc.
Yeah.
But obviously I didn't fall for it.
I want to make this statement right here, right now. To those of you who are listening, who are involved in sales, and you're thinking about hard selling people and being very pushy, you're thinking about just being really aggressive towards possible prospects, you're only hurting yourself. The more you keep doing that, the more you're going to appear rude, and more importantly, the more you're going to appear to be a scammer, because many people associate pushy, aggressive sales tactics with scams. So if you have a legitimate product and you don't want it to look bad, first, you need to stop being so aggressive, take some time to listen to what your customer has to say, and remember that they view you as a scammer if you're being a little too aggressive and you're just not taking no for an answer or not taking their concerns seriously or don't listen. We're going to discuss a few things that'll help you handle sales better so that you look more legitimate and that people will actually want to hear what you have to say.
One thing as well, scammers need to be careful of. People are becoming more and more educated all the time on scams and more aware of scams. These scammers are only going to fail in the end, and they're going to have no one to scam because everyone is going to end up knowing what they're like through education and research, etc.
That's right. People are educating themselves every day. What I wanted to discuss, speaking of scams, I wanted to talk just briefly about TRILOGY Media's latest video that they released just a few days ago from the time of this recording. This video that they put out is incredibly relevant to what we're discussing today. They went face-to-face with several pushy salespeople, or I should say pushy vendors, while they were out in India. For those of you who did not see the video or weren't aware of what happened, the guys were in an Indian village, and their friend who lives in India, their scam baiting partner, Johnny, he took them on a boat ride. And what happened was that they got on the boat, and it seems like nothing's going on while they're out in the water. But here's the thing. Several of the other people on the other boats were vendors. They were rowing up to random boats and trying to sell them their product. They had a lot of handmade stuff, and one of them was even serving barbecue on his boat. I don't know how you do that without ruining your food. And they were just running into a variety of different vendors selling different stuff. And whenever they were approached by one of the vendors, they would try to sell them certain products. They would introduce them to certain products, and then they would overcharge whatever they were selling. The TRILOGY team, several of them interacted with these guys, and they tried to get them to lower their price, and they wouldn't agree to it. But yet they still kept insisting that they would buy the products, and they ran into several different vendors doing this. And here's the thing. It's one thing when they approach you when you don't want to be approached, but it's even worse when they try to kill you with kindness, when they try to use kindness as a manipulation tool to get you to close a deal. What you'll see is that they'll be very friendly with you. And I'm not just talking about the guys TRILOGY were interacting with. I'm also talking about in general. Take the mall, for example. If you go to a mall, you're going to see several kiosks with different vendors. They're selling a lot of different products, usually cell phone accessories, toys, and the most popular, cosmetics. And one thing I've noticed from going to the mall is that the cosmetics ones are the worst of the bunch. They will approach random strangers, stop them while they're passing by. They will compliment one of their passerbys. They will tell him something nice. They will be as friendly as he can possibly be. They want to appear to be the most lovable person. And then they try to sell you an overpriced product that they have, usually some sort of concealer or facial cream. You think that by them just trying to sell a product, they're not doing anything wrong. It gets worse than that. Then they'll even encourage you to take out your card. And if you take out your card, they will take it from you. And then they'll tell you, if you agree to buy the product, I'll give it back to you.
Hey, there was a pet one. I was they go round, I can't remember what it's called now. Dogs something. It's about dogs. I can't remember what it's called exactly. But you go in like supermarkets, shops, etc. And there's always someone there. And they're very pushy. They're like, they make you sponsor a dog. Even if you say no or you've got no time, they'll force you to sponsor a dog. They won't let you go.
Mm-hmm. That's terrible. That's awful. That is beyond rude and uncaring.
Dogs trust, that's it. So I just want to say that for people watching this, be careful of dogs trust, because if you see people in the local shops, because they are extremely pushy like that, and they will make you sponsor a dog until you leave.
Right. It's pretty much the same thing as what I just described with those mall vendors. They'll tell you what you want to hear, and they won't let you leave until you buy. My advice would be to just make sure you don't take out your debit card, because they will insist that you hand it over to them, and then they'll give you a discount, and then they won't hand it over to you until you agree to buy. It's the same thing.
In my opinion, that's criminal.
Yeah, it is criminal. It's not the right way to handle a sale. You're making your prospect feel more uncomfortable.
The less legitimate you want to appear, the pushier you should be if you're a salesperson.
Mm-hmm. That's right. That goes back to what I said earlier. The more pushy you become, the more you look like a scammer, even if you're selling a legitimate product. Here's another example of people who are just incredibly rude and don't care. Now, I don't know if they do this at any of the stores in your area, but I've been to a couple of Walmarts where either an electricity provider or a cable company or a phone company such as Comcast or AT&T will set up a table near the electronics section preying on people who are trying to buy TVs. They're trying to land a sale, because if somebody's trying to buy a TV, most likely they're going to be interested in TV service. So what they'll do is that they'll approach random shoppers. They'll stop them, and they just won't listen to anything that these passerbys have to say. They'll just stop them. These people are minding their own business, and then they're stopped by an unwanted salesperson who tries to hard sell them one of these services. They start off by saying, "Hi, how are you? I like your shirt." You know, the same thing the people in the malls do. They will just appear to be as friendly as they possibly can.
The charge fund subsidiary companies that do the prepaid mobile phone service also do that, and I find that really offensive.
Mm-hmm. It's terrible.
One of the mobile shops in Penzance in Cornwall here in the UK, it's a Indian mobile shop, so it's a small mobile shop, but he is very perverted and pushy towards people. Every customer he has, if he sees them on a social network or a dating site, he will harass them and bombard them. Even if they block him, he'll make a new account to harass you, and it's just absolutely crazy. And the thing with dog trust as well, I forgot to mention, which I meant to get out of the way, is they'll set up a direct debit for you to sponsor this dog, but if that dog gets adopted, you're still paying Dog's Trust for that dog that got adopted. So basically, they're taking your money and scamming you.
That's criminal. That is one of the most disgusting tactics I've ever heard of. That is beyond criminal. That's stealing.
And the only way you can stop it is by cancelling the direct debit. But yeah, your money will basically go to them once the dog's adopted.
See, that's why they're so adamant about hard selling, because they want to make sure that they're stealing money from you. It's a scam, in my opinion. They don't care about dogs. They just want your money. And that's why it's important to make sure that you always check your bank statements, make sure you're not being double charged or triple charged for something you weren't expecting to pay for. That's just crazy.
Or sign up for a subscription that you don't want.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes, in order to get it to cancel, you have to cancel the cards being drafted on. And that's always a pain in the butt. Because sometimes that can leave you without access to your bank for 7 to 10 days.
Yeah, because sometimes they'll use your card number instead of setting up a direct debit. They're paying through your card number. So then in the end, you have to get a new card because there's no way you can cancel it otherwise.
It's terrible. That is one of the most disgusting, despicable criminal acts I've ever heard of. And you should never bill someone's card without their consent. They might have had an authorization form that said they will just continue to bill you until you cancel. That's unethical at this point. Once that dog's been adopted, you should no longer be financially responsible for them. And what makes them even more crooked is that they don't tell you. They're thieves. They are criminal thieves for doing that.
I weren't paying them, but it made me realise when my aunt, her dog died, her dog Elvis, that she had for years, he had cancer and diabetes, etc. So he died eventually, and then she bought a dog from Dog Trust, and it made me think, people are probably still sponsoring that dog and they don't know that he's been adopted.
Yeah.
That's what made me think about that part of the scam. Part of it was a scam.
That's why they're so aggressive towards people. They know that they're still taking the money. Anything that they get from a dog that's already been adopted most likely goes into their pockets. And they like that. They like the free money. That is beyond crooked. That's disgusting.
Don't get me wrong. It's nice to sponsor dog charities, etc. But you should do it in the right way. You shouldn't be scamming people out of their money. You should be telling them where their money is going to go if this dog gets adopted, and then maybe people will be more understanding and willing to donate, etc.
I agree. It's just very heartbreaking that people are being robbed blind like that.
There's this TV advert that's been going for donkey's years about African children needing help, etc., etc. If you give them this amount of money, they won't starve no more. But they've been having them same adverts for years. And in the end, it's like, where the hell is the money actually going if these children are still in the same situation they were 50 years ago, if you get what I mean?
It's a good question.
You know? So some of the money doesn't actually go to, well, a majority of the money doesn't go to the children in Africa. They'll buy what they need, but a majority of it goes to the people doing the work.
It's hard to say. The scary fact of life is that we don't know where our money goes when it comes to these types of donations. I want to talk about the mindset of a pushy salesperson. We all agree that pushy salespeople are rude. We know that their only focus is on closing every deal. They don't care really about their customers' concerns, and they just want to collect a commission for closing out a sale. All they're interested in is that commission, and they have dollar signs in their eyes. I find them to be very rude, callous, annoying. I just feel that they shouldn't be approaching random strangers, whether they're in the mall or they're shopping at Walmart, like I mentioned earlier. I think one of the rudest things that they could do is just approach a passerby who otherwise has no interest in what they have to say and try to force them to buy something they don't want.
Yeah, definitely. And that guy I mentioned about the little phone shop in Penzance here, it's been there for years. You've always feel anxious if you walk past his shop because he's always staring right into your soul every time you see him. And like, he's pushy in his shop. Sometimes he's pushy online, especially with women mostly. And it's like, whenever you walk past his shop, you always worry, is he going to be outside staring into your soul until you've gone out of his eyesight? It's awful. And people feel like that a lot with these pushy salespeople, just in general. You always get that anxiety of going past them. Are they going to be pushy this time? Are they going to look at me until I'm out of their sight, etc.?
I actually read an article a few years back about, there's this one shopping district, I forgot what city this was located in, where they have stores for cosmetics and soaps and teas and stuff like that. And it's similar to the products you'd see at the kiosks in the mall. I read that many people would go out of their way to avoid this little stretch of the road where all these shops are, because there's always aggressive people standing outside trying to lure people in, and they get that same sense of anxiety that you were describing about this.
I do it all the time. If I go downtown, I take the back route now, and I go down the street behind the town if I've got to go to a train station or the bus station to go to an appointment or something. I go down the back roads now. I don't like to go through the town because of certain people, because of just the anxiety, etc., with that guy in that shop, etc. It's just horrible.
Yeah.
You have to do that, especially for women, because women are targeted more sometimes.
The saddest part about these aggressive salespeople is that they don't care about your anxiety. They just have dollar signs in their eyes, and they're not respectful of other people's feelings. They're not respectful that people don't have the money to spend. And just like with your case and the many shoppers who don't want to go down that one stretch of road I just mentioned, that's all thanks to these people who are heartless and don't care. They don't realize how incredibly rude they are. They can give you all the comments that they want. They can compliment the way you look, the way you're dressed. That's how they try to lure people in. Doesn't matter. They are still being incredibly rude, and they are not giving a second thought to how you really feel. In fact, let me add some more cringe to this. One time, a long time ago, when I was in the mall, I saw a random woman walking past one of those cosmetic stands, and the male salesperson, get this, he jumped out in front of her and he stuck his arms out asking for a hug.
That is weird.
That is
I'd
weird.
be like, fuck off, mate. I'd punch him in the face or something.
I couldn't believe what I was seeing. That was the most unprofessional, creepy sales tactic I've ever seen. I don't know why he thought that was going to work. That is just...
Especially with this day and age where there's like, that can be deemed as sexual harassment as well, even though he's not thinking he's directing sexual harassment to her. You can actually get someone done for sexual harassment if they try and hug you without your permission, etc., or if they touch you. It's ridiculous.
That's true. That's very true.
You've got to be so
careful. And you have to be so much more careful these days because of the way the laws are written. Especially if you're a salesperson. If you do not know the law, sooner or later, a civilian is going to take you to court and you're going to get nailed.
That's right. When it comes to being a salesperson who's been trained to be as aggressive as they possibly can, guess what they have in their mindset? They are trained to tune out anything that customers say. They have a script already made, whether it's written or memorized. They are trained to basically tune out any concerns or questions the customer has and to continue to make their product look as attractive as possible. They will push hard until the sale starts to go somewhere. The truth of the matter is, you're just making yourself look bad. You're not setting a good example for the truly professional salespeople out there who know how to do their job but are still respectful of the consumer.
One thing I thought about, actually, I was in Subway quite a few weeks ago now. I was buying multiple things because I was going out early the next morning, so I got a salad and a sandwich, etc. And I didn't want any cookies, but this guy was really pushy about cookies. He was like, do you want a cookie? I said, no, I'm fine. He said and then he said, oh, we got new lemon ones. And I thought, I love lemon drizzle. So I thought, I'll try it, even though they don't go well with my body. I got them anyway. And he was like, oh, do you want 3? And then he was like, do you want 6? And then 9 and then 12. He was really pushy, and just to get him off my case, I brought a load and gave them to someone else.
Wow.
But he was really pushy about it, but I'd never do it again if he asks me. But yeah, I did. I got them and I just gave them to someone else.
I've never seen anybody get that aggressive or pushy in fast food. That's a first time for me.
Yeah, and he could see I was trying to be healthy, but he was trying to force the calories onto me. It was like, I don't know, it's just weird.
Yeah, and ironically, Subway's known for being the more healthier choices when it comes to fast food.
Yeah.
That is amazing that somebody at Subway would get that aggressive.
Right.
I would have thought they filter out for that kind of thing in fast food because they teach you to upsell. I mean, to reference the movie Super Size Me, he actually had eaten everything on the menu at least once that month and damn near killed him. It took almost a year to undo the damage.
That's terrible.
So don't get me wrong, like if I get a salad or like with meat, or if I get like a sandwich, I like, do you want double meat? And sometimes that does entice me and I will get like double meat for an extra £1. But they can be really pushy if you say no or whatever.
Right. That's the first time for me hearing about something like that in the fast food universe. I have never been to a fast food restaurant where they get pushy if you don't, or they don't even try to sell you anything extra, really. I have noticed, though, when you place orders online, for example, with Domino's, if you order a pizza, they will try to upsell you. They'll show up, as you're checking out, a pop-up will come up asking you if you want to add double cheese or add a side of buffalo wings or cheesy bread or a soda. And while I don't find that to be as pushy as a human salesperson trying to land extra commission, I still find it intrusive because I just want to go through, check out, and place my order. I don't want all these extra pop-ups.
Yeah. Luckily, it's only one of the guys who was really pushy about the cookies, etc. Usually the other guys, they're just really chilled out, though they do give you, like, say, like a normal standard salad. Some people will give you really small portions of what you pay. But like 2 of the people in the local Subway, they'll really fill up your salad box. They'll give you double, sometimes triple of your salad, which is good. But yeah, there is one guy who tries to like push the unhealthy stuff on you.
Yeah, I'm starting to wonder if he gets some sort of a kickback for selling extra cookies. Maybe his boss is giving him commission. I don't know. Think about it. He works for Subway. Any money that comes in for the cookies goes to the franchisee of that Subway location. He's not profiting from it. The only reason why he would be so aggressive would be because maybe he is getting a commission for how many cookies he sells. That's just my theory on it. That's how I see it. Because otherwise, why would he be so adamant about getting that extra money when it's otherwise supposed to go to the franchisee?
Yeah, I don't know.
That's my
But
theory.
he's a bit younger than us. I think he's about early 20s maybe. And it's that kind of generation. So I don't know. Maybe it's just him.
The younger generation salespeople tend to be pushier about their sales than the older generation, who seem to be more chill and relaxed. Because a lot of these younger salespeople are not taught that not everyone is their customer.
Yeah, luckily I found as well, when I travelled several weeks ago now, quite a few weeks ago, on the train there was a lady with a trolley. She just stood in one of the things by where the doors are and just let people come to her. She wasn't rich. She wasn't going around asking people if they want something, which obviously it's fine for people to go around asking if you want something. But she just stayed in the corridor bit of the train and she just waited for people to come to her, which I thought was quite good.
Yeah, and the reason she did that, quite frankly, is because she knew enough from her sales training that not everybody's going to want what she's offering, and that if she just stays in one spot, those that are looking for what she has to sell will actually go ahead and they will seek out the sale. They will come to her. That's what she was taught, and that's what she believes, is that if someone wants the product, they will come to her, and then she can upsell them to a better product if they ask. That way, she isn't making as many sales, but by upselling to better products, a consumer who's asking her questions, she's making sure that the customer's happy with what they're getting, number one, and she's generating the idea that she's giving them a good value. So she's not going to have nearly as much of a scammerish reputation as other people who are pushier.
Right.
Yeah, they're very good at Great Western Railway, to be fair. Their staff are always very good, and they always notify people what carriage she's going to be on or in between over the intercom thing, so people can go and get snacks, so they know there's snacks available on the train. But yeah, I just think it's a very nice idea. They're not just like shoving past you.
Whenever they're too pushy or too persistent, because there's a fine razor-thin line between pushy and persistence, you end up missing out on possible sales cues that your prospect is showing. The fact that this lady actually wants to listen shows that she really cares about doing her job right and wants to be ethical. Most salespeople are not trained to think this way. In fact, when you're too pushy, you won't start to notice that your prospect is becoming uncomfortable and that they just want to get away from you and walk away. What do pushy salespeople like to do? They like to cram everything into a nice little box. Basically, give you a quick rundown about what you have to offer. And they talk about features. They'll even throw in some benefits to make it look more attractive. But if their prospect is talking, they have questions, or they say they don't want to buy, guess what? They don't hear it. They're trained to tune that part out and listen to their script. And as much as I hate to say this, the sad truth is that a lot of times when people are really trying to push a product so aggressively on you, it is most likely a ripoff. They are most likely overcharging you for something that you could buy elsewhere at a cheaper price.
Luckily, the Subway thing with the cookies, luckily they always have a deal on. So like if you buy three for £1.20 or something, then you buy 6 for a set price, and then so on. So luckily, with their tactics, you're not paying extra. But you're paying extra in the sense, but you're getting a deal if you buy so many.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yes, I see exactly what you mean. It sounds like a decent deal that most people want to take part in, because if you're spending the same amount of money for one product, for 2 products, that looks attractive. That's different, though, than what you see from these vendors who sell at flea markets or in the malls. What they'll do is that they'll just keep insisting over and over again that you're missing out on a good deal. They'll keep telling you how much you should try their product, and then they won't let you go until you agree to give in. And of course, the easiest thing to do is walk away. Most people don't do this because they don't want to look rude. Well, here's the thing. That salesperson is the one being rude to you. So you have every right to walk away if you think they're just trying to pressure you into buying something you don't want.
I had that problem in Plymouth a few weeks back. A guy in Mankind or whatever it's called, this shop, it sells gadgets and all sorts. He was quite pushy, going up to people and asking if they want things. He wasn't too pushy. He took the hint when you walked the other direction. But it's just so bad. And sometimes as well, I find you've got to look for better deals, because I'm glad I didn't buy a flamingo light in there that time, because it was between £30 and £40 in UK money. However, I'm glad I didn't buy it, because I found it on Amazon for £14.
See what I mean? My point proven exactly.
It's ridiculous.
My point proven exactly. They're trying to overcharge you for something that you can get elsewhere cheaper.
Yeah, exactly. Even though Amazon can be a bit funny sometimes, they do really good deals. And if you type in one product that you want, you get multiple different deals for the same product. So it's always worth looking.
Yeah, plus Amazon tends to be more of an online marketplace.
Yeah.
Where you can buy from not just Amazon, but other vendors as well who have partnered with Amazon to offer their goods on Amazon, so that you can get a better deal on products you do actually want.
Better quality, as well sometimes.
Right. Now, I have a question for you both. I want to see if you can answer this. Can you tell me what the difference is between a persistent salesperson and a pushy salesperson? The difference is razor thin, as I mentioned before, but what do you guys think the difference is between a persistent salesperson and a pushy one?
I'd say, I don't know if this is correct, but a persistent one, they're trying to do their job to the standard they should be. They're more loyal to their customers, I find, and they're more committed to their customers rather than the pushy ones, and they like to get to know the customers as well sometimes, the persistent one.
I would agree with that answer. And Justin, what do you think?
I think that the honest difference between a persistent salesman and a pushy salesman is that a persistent salesman will listen to your concerns and try to figure out a way to, while listening to your concerns, address your concerns by pointing out a feature of the product, but not do so in a pushy manner that addresses your concern.
They try to do it in a nicer manner than a pushy manner, don't they? Yeah.
Yeah, because the persistent guy is willing to listen to your concerns, whereas the pushy one will not.
That's right. A persistent salesperson will seek out and identify sales cues from their prospect and then start to use them to their advantage, versus a pushy one. They're always going to talk about features and benefits. They're not going to pick up on other possible sales cues that could actually convert to a successful sale. They're too busy trying to follow their script and ignore anything the customer has to say, any objections they might have. They want to make sure that their prospect is just basically, they shut up, they listen, and take anything the salesperson has to say to heart, hoping that their prospect will take it as fact. It's rude.
And about persistence as well is, you like to get to know what your customer wants, and you can be persistent, but in the nice way, by saying, how is this going for you? Can I recommend this to you? Etc., etc.
Right. Whenever they try to help you or try to show you that they're actually interested in your concerns and listening what you have to say, you're doing the right thing. But when you're just being pushy, it's basically, buy from me. Don't ask me questions. Shut up. Give me your money. That's all that's in their mindset. They have a very rude mindset otherwise.
Yeah. I find that persistent salespeople are the salespeople that ask those questions of what problems would make you want to walk away from the sale and how can I fix them so that you will walk out this door with the product that I sell.
Right.
So that I can pocket the commission in an honest way.
And it's nice being persistent sometimes because they care about you and they care about the product and they want to check up to make sure the product is working for you,
Right.
etc.
That's right. A lot of pushy salespeople, you know what myth they believe? They believe that they are good listeners. They're not. They're horrible listeners. They don't give 2 cents about anything their prospect has to say. What they'll do is they will tell their prospect what they want them to hear rather than the truth about the product.
They care about the most commission they're going to get. That's all they care about.
That's
Because
right.
obviously with commission-based jobs, it's hard sometimes to get so much money. But the reason they're so pushy is to get the most amount of money they can.
That's right. That's right. The pushy salesperson does all the talking. They don't really let their prospect talk. You know, a persistent one who's doing their job honestly, what they'll do is that they'll listen to their customer, hear everything they have to say, and then they're going to make sure that the message the customer has given them is 100% crystal clear. That's what a persistent salesperson does. They listen, they show compassion, they show that they're not just in it for the money and that they want customer satisfaction. Their end game is not just to pocket a commission by deceiving their customer or telling them something that they want to hear, but probably isn't true anyway.
They may be deep down, but sometimes I think pushy people are not empathic at all.
They're not. They're not. The word pushy is the key word. Being pushy, whether you're a salesperson or not, in my eyes, is just another way of saying that they're just unkind.
Pushy people just don't care.
They don't. I view them as
That's
heartless.
the heart of it.
Haven't we all had a pushy boss before?
Yeah.
See what I mean? A lot of them have unrealistic agendas. They think you must be better than God at your job or you suck at your job. That's what they want you to believe. In my eyes, that's a form of pushiness. Now, in the sales world, pushy people use the most aggressive, high-pressure sales tactics they can think of. Their only interest is to serve their own end goal, their own agenda. They want to make sure that in the end, they are getting the money that they expect. If you're a persistent salesperson and you're being honest, you want to make sure that what you're trying to sell your customers is a right fit for their needs. Because if it's not, then you don't want to sell it to them. A pushy salesperson doesn't care if their product they are trying to sell them aligns with their needs. They just want to give it to them, get the money, and move on. They don't care at all if the customer's satisfied. It's a win-lose situation. Customer loses, the salesperson wins.
I find persistent ones as well. Like if there's a problem, like before ages ago, this is when I was using Beautiful. I didn't use them for a while because I was trying to move, but I will go back to using them again. Like they made a mistake one time where I paid for a certain courier, but they accidentally gave me a tracking for a different courier, and she gave me a discount because of. Whereas that's good because persistent people will do that. They care about their customers, and that if they make a mistake, they'll do something to rectify it, even if it's a small discount.
That's customer service 101. You're always supposed to be able to make sure that you can rectify customer situations whenever something goes wrong. When something goes wrong, you need to be able to address it immediately and provide a solution to the problem.
And employees, please listen up, because if you hire pushy salespeople, you are going to negatively impact the lives of your customer service division, because they will have to spend more time cleaning up the damage to your reputation.
Exactly. You bring up an important point, Justin, because I wanted to also make clear that when it comes to pushy salespeople, what they'll do is that when they get objections, something that takes them off script from their script they have embedded into their mind, what they'll do to try to close the sale at this point is they will ignore, they'll marginalize, and they'll even lie to the customer to get around these objections and get them to buy. And when you have lying going on, now you are scamming your customers, and this will directly affect your organization, especially if you are a legitimate company and you have legitimate products you're selling. Your company may not be a scam organization itself, but your salespeople make it appear that way if they start lying just to close deals. At this point, it's all about their own personal gain. They don't care about your company or their customer. They just want to pocket the commission.
That's when narcissism comes into it too, because it turns people into narcissists. And this is where people need to be careful about the job they choose. I know sometimes it's hard, and any job will do sometimes, but you have to be careful, because if you're a nice person deep down or whatever, you don't want to be turned into a narcissist and then have everyone hate you because you're a narcissist.
Right. That's true. I see narcissism involved in sales all the time. And it just falls back onto what I was saying. They are trained to make themselves look like they are always right and the customer is always wrong. That's what a pushy salesperson does. In fact, what a pushy salesperson will do is they will lie to close a sale. A persistent salesperson will use the objections to their advantage, use them as learning opportunities to help them reposition the value of both themselves and what they are selling. And then next time you have an objection, you'll be able to understand why the customer said no.
What I find as well, some Amazon customer service people are really pushy when it comes to refunds. Say, like you say, you want your refund in your bank account. They will try and do anything to get it put in your gift card, making you have to buy from them. And there was one time a guy said, oh, we can't find your card details, even though it was on my order, the card I used, and said he couldn't refund it to my card because he didn't have my card details. So he forced me to have it on my gift card.
Mm-hmm.
But I tried to force them to give me the refund where I want it, whether it's a gift card or my bank account. I hate it when there's been a few of them, the customer service people that have been pushy, where you say, oh, you want it to your card, but they will demand you have it to your gift card. It's annoying.
Right. That's just bad customer service. And bad pushy sales tactics and bad customer service go hand in hand, because the tactics between trying to sell somebody something they don't want is pretty much in line with trying to give customers an option they don't want in terms of refunds.
Yeah.
That's terrible that they didn't listen to you. To me, when a customer says, put it back in the bank account, don't argue with them, just do it. That's all you have to do. If you don't do what they say and you just continue to give them an alternative way that you rather do, you're being selfish. You're showing that you do not care about this customer and all you want to do is just fulfill your own agenda. Well, actually, here's my theory on that. The reason why they want you to get it refunded on a gift card versus in your bank account is because they want to make sure that that money that they're refunding you still gets spent at Amazon versus at a competitor. They want to make sure that you are forced into making your next purchase with that refunded money at Amazon.
Yeah. And I find that a gift card can be a rather irresponsible way to refund a customer's money, because when you do that, you really can quite often limit their options.
Right. It's an
And
inconvenience.
98% of the time, they would rather spend that money on something else.
Yes.
Yeah.
And when you restrict their ability to do that, they're going to remember that, and eventually they will start to resent your company,
Mm-hmm.
and they will eventually vote with their wallet. They will shop for your competitor, and you will go out of business if it happens often enough.
Right.
Sometimes you want to I know myself, I've wanted to put the money towards a bill instead of buying the thingy again, and it's annoying when they do that sometimes.
Yeah, in fact, some stores used to rely on store credit, and one example I can think of, and you might remember this, several years ago, Burlington Coat Factory, now known as just Burlington now, never gave refunds. They had a store credit policy where if you return something...
Yeah, like that.
Right.
Yeah, computer exchange are like that here in the UK. I don't know if they have it in the US, but basically, unless an item is broken or faulty, you can only get your refund in a store credit, which is annoying.
Right. And Burlington's case, the store credit option became so unpopular with their customer base because all they could do was just take their credit and buy other products in the store. It became so unpopular, they got rid of this policy altogether and just went towards giving out cash refunds.
Walmart has the policy that if you buy from them and the item is broken, they are required to refund it to your original purchase method.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
The thing with computer exchange as well is if you trade something in, you get probably about £60 or £70 more if you get a credit voucher instead, if you trade it in for a voucher rather than cash, which makes you laugh. You get if you trade it in for cash, you'll get 50 to 70 quid less than you would if you traded it in for a store credit voucher.
Wow.
Which is
I think that's a rip-off in my eyes.
It literally, It's ridiculous. It's something around that. It's a really big amount that you get through the difference. It's ridiculous.
Right. Going back to pushy sales tactics, organizations that I've noticed that utilize pushy salespeople, I've noticed they include telecom companies, certain utility companies, sometimes cell phone companies, and I've also noticed this greatly with for-profit schools. I know this because I went to a for-profit school 10 years ago where they will tell you what you want to hear. They will tell you you're going to get a job when you graduate and that your skill set is going to look so attractive to employers. They basically tell you everything you want to hear. They will not take no for an answer. Guess what happens when you graduate? You can't find a job anywhere. You can't find a job anywhere.
So that's the problem with my cousins. They went to university, they got degrees, everything else, but they can't find jobs to fit their degrees. It's ridiculous.
I mean, that can be pretty common with any degree, but when it comes to these for-profit schools, they hard sell you into believing that you're basically fail-safe and that you are guaranteed a job when you graduate.
But you're not, because you need to meet the job standards, and not all schools teach you the standards that the required for the job. You need training, etc.
That's right. And then also, moving on from that, and I think this is the worst one of them all, the people that are most notorious for hard selling, ignoring prospects' needs and wants, are the MLM, the multi-level marketing pyramid schemers. The MLM pyramid schemers, what they'll do is that they will target people on job boards. They will look for random resumes, and then they will call up these people. They'll use sales tactics, aggressive sales tactics to get people to come in. They're very vague about the job details. People feel suspicious about them, and then they tell them it's for a customer service position, and then they're very vague on the details. The person will come in after being hard sold, believing it's for a job that they actually want, only to find out it is for some sort of pyramid scheme where they're going to be doing all this work, they're not going to get paid a salary, and all the leads are recycled where they don't make any money off of these leads because they already objected once before. And if they manage to make a sale, it goes to the people at the top, and then they're expected to keep recruiting their friends and family. And I think that is just one of the most disgusting, despicable, evil way to prey on people who are just job searching, who want to make an honest living. And hard sales tactics are used to bait people into this nonsense.
Something that's just reminded me of, there's this thing on line. I find it scam. It's on Facebook. I haven't been properly on Facebook for years, but I seen it years ago where there was these raffle things where you pay £1 or whatever to enter the raffle, and if you pay so much, you get a chance to win. But because of the people that run the raffle, them and their family members were always winning, and other people never were winning. It was always the same people constantly winning the raffle, and I think it was a fix for friends and family, and to get other people to just waste their money with false thing.
It reminds me of American game shows. I always felt that a lot of them were rigged to favor certain people. I'm not going to say which shows they are, but certain players of a certain class, of a certain type, always seem to win on this game show that I watch. Yeah, I see what you mean. It sounds like the whole operation is rigged.
MLM is illegal in many areas, and with good reason.
Right. And you and me both know what those reasons are.
And I find that MLM is one of the ugliest ways you can make a living.
It's shady. It's a legalized pyramid scheme because even the FTC's website calls them pyramid schemes, but why aren't they doing anything about it? I'll never know. It's ugly. It's deceitful. You're lying to people just to make money. The thing is that you have all these people working very hard because they were baited in by someone who was very aggressive towards them in their sales pitch. They're doing all this hard work. They don't make any money. It goes to the people at the top who are running the whole freak show.
Yeah, and I find that's one of the uglier things about MLM, and why I will never participate in one.
Nope.
I don't care how desperate I become.
It's a scam.
Because I just simply wouldn't want that kind of karma chasing me.
Right. It's a huge scam. I want to close the show by making this point clear. If you are too pushy as a salesperson, you are being outright, disgustingly rude to your customers. You need to make sure that you understand what your customers want. You need to have the ability to accept the word no whenever people tell you no. You need to learn that no means no. Don't keep trying to force them into buying something. Listen to what they have to say. Make sure that you're not just trying to sell them a product they don't want. If you're just trying to land sales by being nice to them, by stopping them as they pass by, and you start using kindness as a manipulation tool to get them to buy your products, you're not being nice to them. You are being downright rude. That's my final words on the subject.
I agree, and I find that one of the rudest tactics you can engage in is sales without empathy.
That's right, and that's what we've been discussing. Selling without empathy. You're only thinking about that commission and not your customer being satisfied or benefiting from the product. Because if you're selling them a product that they don't need, but you fool them into thinking that they need, then you're a scammer yourself.
Yeah, that's why when I was a telephone surveyor, I always tried to make sure that I was only talking to people who actually were trying to expect my call, to talk to people who can actually do something about the damage to their property, or to make sure that people who are actually doing their job correctly are actually rewarded with additional business.
That's the right way to do it.
Because if you're a salesman and you're listening to your customers' concerns, and that when they say no, you accept it and either figure out what the problem is and correct it without causing too much damage to the company's bottom line, or if you figure out that it's just better that they not buy your product and you have them move on to someone else who's a better fit for their wallet and situation, then you are a good salesperson, and you will be the one who cashes in the big bucks, because honest salespeople who keep their customers' concerns addressed at a fair price are the ones who last the longest in the industry and get the best reviews.
Exactly. That's been exactly my point throughout the show. If you're a salesperson, listen to your customers' concerns. Listen to them if they have questions. Don't just tune them out and just keep going on about how great your product is just so you can land a sale. Listen to your customers. Don't just keep trying to push something that they don't want to buy onto them. That just shows how callous and rude you are towards them, and you're scaring them off. You can give them all the compliments in the world. You could be sweeter than apple pie and honey towards them. But in the end, it doesn't matter. You are still being viewed as rude and pushy in the eyes of your prospect, and they want to get away from you, and they want to go about their business and find another company that will give them what they want.
Yeah, I agree.
Just that people who are pushy salesmen often do not have empathy. And when you hire people to do your sales who lack empathy, ultimately you're doing more damage to your brand name in the long run than you will ever want your customer service associates to have to deal with.
Yeah, and sometimes these people need a taste of their own medicine to realise what they're doing to people is wrong.
That's right. That's exactly right. And when the only thing you have in your eyes is dollar signs, you don't care about doing the right thing. You just want to see how many people you can rip off. Because a lot of times, they are ripping people off by selling them products that they don't even need. They just want to make the money and move on, regardless of whether or not their customers are truly benefiting from this product. That is unethical. That's disgusting.
Yeah, I remember when I done sales work, I was always trying to make sure that the product that I was providing was something, number one, that they needed, and number two, that I was making sure they were receiving at a fair price from whoever was employing me at the time.
That's how every salesperson should operate, just like that.
Ultimately, there were some sales that I would refuse to close because I would figure out that, hey, this person is not going to benefit from this product, and I need to say no to the sale.
That's right. Justin, I feel that you could be a great salesman. You know how to handle customers. You know how to address their needs and make sure you're not just trying to take their money so you can make a commission.
A lot of my friends have said that I am an excellent counselor, but I was trained by some of the best counselors in the business.
I would agree with them on that.
That's like me. I've helped a lot of people because I'm being an empath myself, etc. I can sense people's feelings. I can help them better. I can understand them, relate to them, etc. So I've been very good at counseling people.
And sales too, because you know how not to act when it comes to sales.
Yeah.
I'd like to thank you guys once again for joining me on the show and providing your insights. All the information that you guys provided, there is a right way and a wrong way to handle prospects.
Being an empath myself and wanting to make sure that nobody gets ripped off, not the company I work for, not the people making the product the company is selling, and not the customer.
Right.
Because that way I don't have to have a nasty reputation with people who buy from me. And I don't have a reputation with my boss that makes them wonder, should I keep this person on or should I reduce their paycheck? Because I prefer to make sure that anybody who employs me is receiving a fair exchange of value for the amount they're giving me.
That's
and
right.
If I'm not going to be able to provide them an appropriate value for the money they're going to pay me, I don't take the job.
Honestly, I feel you would be great in either sales or customer service because of the level of empathy you show towards other people.
And quite often I've been in customer service.
Once again, I thank you guys for joining me on the show and providing your input. Your input is what really made this one full of great material that I know anyone who is interested in sales might benefit from.